Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 134 of the Noclip podcast. Doodle-doodle-doo. Happy 5th of July. I don't know when this goes up. Happy 7th of July. I don't know. It's the 4th of July. It still feels like the 4th of July to me because I'm still hungover. Frank Howley, how did you celebrate the glory of America's independence yesterday?
I went for a bike ride, and it was beautiful. I decluttered my room and my game collection, and GCW hosted a backyard wrestling pay-per-view, so I watched that, and it was amazing. So they were setting off fireworks on each other, and it was awesome. So
terrific.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, the shooting fireworks at people thing of backyard wrestling is a favorite of mine because it looks so bad. It looks so bombastic, but like it's just fireworks. It's not. I've been hit by a firework. It's not that bad. I like that. My daughter also rode her bike. She did one of those little parades where she America'd up her bike, and then there was like a little bike parade. Did you America up your bike?
No, I'm trying to think. No, I think even I countered because I was listening to Katamari's soundtrack. So I was listening to Japanese music riding my bike. So it was the 4th of Kauai.
Dear Lord. Jeremy J, and how did you celebrate the wonder of American imperialism?
Let's see. I went for a little hike, hung out outside. There's a family of turkeys that have been raising their babies in my backyard. So I'm like, I don't have any particular affinity for turkeys. They're fine, but I guess I've never seen baby turkeys before. So I've just been hanging out in my backyard. And if you sit long enough, like the baby, it's baby season in the backyard. So baby deer come up, the baby turkeys come up. It's like a private zoo. It feels like I'm one with them, you know? Like I'm just another animal chilling in the backyard.
Terrific. How small are baby turkeys? They're pretty small, like chicks?
They're very small. They're probably like, I thought they were quail the first time I saw them. They're about the size of a quail.
Okay, all right. Did they make like a high-pitched version of like...
They make like a little beeping noise. So they're the smaller of the two gets very scared when the mom, he like stays near the mom's leg. And so when the mom turkey leaves, he'll like turn around and realize she's gone and go like beep and then kind of run after her. It's very precious.
He's backing up, I think.
Yeah. It's to warn you so he doesn't back over you.
Yeah, exactly. Health and safety gone mad in the turkey world. Thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. If you'd like to support this podcast and our tape initiative, it's out there. Finally, we did it. We talked about the videotapes. If you'd like to help us digitize all that madness, head over to patreon.com/noclip. We're going to do a vote in the next few days on one of the first batches of tapes. I have two piles in front of me here. One of them says God of War 2 and the other one says Halo 3. And I feel like both of them have a bunch of videos. Some of them have interviews. I've seen David Jaffe and Corey Barlog sitting on a stage. One of them has the God of War 2 like launch event in San Francisco, I guess. It's all in 1080, recorded on HD cam tapes. And then the Halo stuff is a mixture, I think, of alpha gameplay footage and maybe some interviews as well. I haven't diving into that one yet, but we're going to do some batches of some tapes as well. So if you want to have your say and be part of democracy manifest, then head over to patreon.com/noclip and enjoy your succulent Chinese meal. Shout out to all of our incredible battle pass holders, by the way. Arno, Richard Matherson, James Brown, Jason Drury, Mark Rojas, Ryan Cobb, Tucker Morgan, Crimson Cyclist, Sven Huster, Tim Robinson, Forrest Pruitt, Alex Sharp, welcome to the team, sir. Alex threw me off, Andy, I'm sorry. Andy Fegan, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Cameron Laird, Alex Goucher. Special treat for the YouTube audience there, Jeremy, holding up his Cameron Laird poster. Alex Goucher, George Chakotis, Jacob Godserve, and the one and only, the main man, Tohir Tilyaev. Thank you all so much for helping us out. That's what it's all about. We got some extra patrons over the past couple of days, which has been cool, helping us out a bit, so we really appreciate it. There's a lot of work to do with these tapes, so hopefully we will continue to garner favor with you, video game community. Earlier on today, I was exporting the E3 2000 and 2001 behind closed doors presentations for Neverwinter Nights, so those should be coming up soon for fans. There's a Baldur's Gate DLC one in there as well. DLC. This is before expansion pack.
They didn't call it that
DLC.
back then.
No, it was a boxed content. BC. Burning Crusade. We did have time, though, to play some video games this week. I want to talk to Frank first of all because I managed to snag some codes for AEW Fight Forever. the new wrestling game that's not made by WoW, and it's gotten some tepid review. I would say it's a hard 7 out of 10, kind of feels like, as far as the critics are concerned. But I was watching Frank Howley's Twitch stream a couple nights ago, and it looks like you like this weird-ass game, Frank. You're into it?
Yeah, it really does feel like a PS2 game, and I mean that with all the compliments. It's like of the same era of like Tony Hawk Underground and then SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, where it's very goofy and silly, and I'm all for it. And so I could easily see how a lot of people would be like, this looks like crap. For me, I'm like, oh, this looks like, yeah, this hits my 12-year-old brain like, this is awesome. This is great. It's so funny. The first maybe hour playing it, I'm like, oh, this is rough, because the animation looks weird, the art design, the character like, it just looks kind of off a little bit, and then you acclimate to it, and then you get it. But the thing that actually works, the thing that really works, is the gameplay works. I know how to lift up wrestlers, pick up their bodies, throw them on the turnbuckle, do ladder spots. Whereas I feel like I never learned how to play the WWE games. They were so confusing. There were so many buttons and weird. It just wasn't fun to play. Whereas Fight Forever, once you learn it, is arcadey and snappy, very much like the SmackDown. And I think, because that's the whole thing with this, is it's by the original team who did the No Mercy games and all that.
It is by Ukes.
Yeah, so they did do SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. They also did Rumble Roses. They did No Mercy. I don't know when it's funny, they
were the New Japan Pro Wrestling people who then went on to, like you said, work on SmackDown, Royal Rumble, Know Your Role, SmackDown 2. So not exactly like classic era. I mean, it's definitely PlayStation classic era. It's not like the Genesis or N64 games, which I think people really like, the Royal Rumble in your house and all that sort of stuff. Was In Your House a WWE game? I think it was.
So Midway did like WrestleMania and In Your House, and that was like their hybrid. It was like a combination of like Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam. They somehow made that into wrestling, and that is so slapstick and goofy.
Yeah.
And then in like late 90s, they shifted it, and there was another team making games. I think Acclaim was making them, and the Acclaim wrestling games are so bad. WWF, I think, Attitude. I forget what the hell they called it, but it sucked. But No Mercy was amazing. WrestleMania 2000, and then even SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. But a lot of people prefer No Mercy WrestleMania. I didn't really fall in love with wrestling until a little bit later, but yeah. So this game feels kind of like those.
We should also mention, just on the Ukes thing, Ukes were also responsible for like a lot of the past 10 years of WWE games, but just not the most recent ones. Is that what happened? Like in 2019 or something, they came off the contract?
Yeah, 2019, apparently that one came out and it was extremely buggy. I remember seeing like clips that everything was broken, so WWE finally was like, okay, let's take a year off.
Okay.
And then they did, and then they put out 2K21, 2K23. So I think that is now a different team making those games.
Yeah, which one? I gotta look up who's doing that. But yeah, how you feel? So does it feel? It doesn't feel like one of those more recent WWE games. Then it feels more like what? Like how does it play? Like it's 3D. Does it feel like a sort of a lower budget one or something? Or
it feels like. Yeah, my reference point is still No Mercy or Here Comes the Pain, where it's pretty simple to where you hit your grapple and you can do up circle, down circle, left circle, right circle to do a different move, strike them, you can pick people up, throw them, and it's very, I don't know, it feels simple, whereas the later games, they really complicated it, and so it's fast, it's snappy. I am not really familiar with the AEW roster. I know a lot of their stars, but so this is me now learning some wrestlers for the very first time and getting their shtick. The thing that really sold me on it is they have a story mode, world tour mode, which very much feels like playing Yakuza side quests.
What?
It is so you make your character, and then the story starts. You're working out at the gym, and then you get a phone call, and it's like Tony Khan being like, "Hi, I'd like to sign you, superstar. Would you like to work for AEW?" And your character's like, AEW, things can really change for me. You have your first match. And then it's like Persona, where at the end of the month there's a pay-per-view. So you have to prepare for your pay-per-view match. And so you can either do workouts, which will give you stat points to upgrade your skills. You can go sightseeing. So there's like a world map. Every month you go to a new city, whether it's like New York, Pittsburgh, Austin, Texas, Los Angeles. You can go sightseeing. So in Washington, D.C., you can see the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. So you'll go to the Abraham Lincoln Memorial and be like, oh, hello, Eddie Kingston. Hey, how you doing, kid? I love U.S. history. Let's get a selfie.
Oh my God.
And then you take a selfie. You can also go eat food. So you'll be in Austin, Texas, and one of your days off, you can go get food, which will give you stat points.
Get some torchies.
So you go to a Tex-Mex restaurant, and Ray Phoenix is there, a luchador, and he's like, hey, how you doing, kid? Man, I love Tex-Mex. Let's get a selfie. And you take a selfie with Ray Phoenix in a
Why
restaurant.
do all these Boston guys sound like they're from Boston?
I'm doing all the voice acting as I play the game. I've never listened to any of these
it's
AEW
all text,
wrestlers.
is it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all text. And sometimes it breaks the fourth wall. There's one line that says something like, I have to phonetically say this because our game doesn't have the budget for voice acting. Like there is one throwaway line in there that's like,
That's great.
What? It's very goof, like Yakuza, and there's charm there.
What was the card
then-
game you were playing? I saw that on the
Yeah,
stream. There's like a
So there's mini games and all these side quests you can do. You get stat points to level up your character. So there's incentives for doing it. So the silliest thing in this is you can challenge the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega to mini games. So within AEW Fight Forever, there's like a Mario Party mode in there, and there's like 20 different mini games. There is AEW trivia. There's Spot the Difference, which is like a kid's highlight magazine where
God.
it's like it shows two side by side. Can you spot the difference? And then
is it
maybe you'll
wrestlers or what do they show? Is it
so
photographs?
yeah, it'll be like a picture from like a wrestling match, but in the background they've photoshopped Orange Cassidy in the crowd, so it's almost like Where's Waldo. There is a baseball mini game where
What?
it's a tag team. There's a baseball mini game where it's 2v2, and your wrestling partner will like throw you at the baseball bat, and then the person has to strike them, and you can get a home run. It is so silly. There's also like a Bomberman mode where you're throwing bombs into the wrestling. It is amazing. Again, this game is I don't know, like a secret gem. It is really, really goofy.
I'm beginning to see now why this was a game that maybe some people were like, on, and you are just losing your mind over. This seems like a Frank game through and through.
Yeah, but I think it like leans into how fun and silly wrestling can be,
Right.
and I think AEW leans into that shtick, whereas I feel like WWE has lost because in Attitude Era it was so cartoony, and then I think they tried to like, oh no, this is serious entertainment. I don't know.
Serious
so
entertainment.
I really like it. I will say I'm trying to think. Yeah, it does still feel like a budget game. Like it really does feel like a PS2 game as opposed to a PS5 game or current gen game. But I think it is charming. It is fast. One thing that helped me with my custom character is you can level up your stat points to increase movement speed. Because the first match I played, it felt sluggish, but I was
Right.
playing with I was playing with low stats. But yeah, doing finishing moves and stuff is exactly how it was in SmackDown, or even the older ones. Once your meter is up, you pick them up, you flick your right thumbstick, you do this finisher. It depletes their stamina bar. It works. Where I feel like in the other WWE 2K games, the stamina bar, it just, I don't know, it never read right. I didn't really get how that system worked.
Right.
But this, if you grew up with these old wrestling games, N64 era or PS2 era, you can pick this up and start playing it, and that's an achievement. You don't have to learn a whole new
You
system
get an achievement
to play.
for starting to play the game? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, there are lots of good trophies. Maybe I think there's achievement for just for playing a singles match.
Okay.
But yeah, AEW Fight Forever, I like it. And then I saw on Reddit the community manager said, and Kenny Omega interviews said they're still going to be adding new modes, new wrestlers to the game, quality of life stuff. So I think this is a pretty solid start. And yeah, if they were going to keep going making sequels, I'm sure it'll be even better. But yeah, if you're a fan of N64 PS2 wrestling games, this is pretty solid. There's also a lot of different modes. There's barbed wire matches. There's TLC, all the good stuff. The mini game thing is a surprise, but the World Tour mode really is such a goofy thing that if you like the silliness of Yakuza games or something like that, and you like wrestling, then you know what? This might be for
Isn't
you.
it funny how both this game and Street Fighter 6 ended up doing that? Like they ended up having like this little outside in the world meeting people world tour thing. It's so strange. Like both of them decided to do it. Speaking of future content, on June 26th, according to Wikipedia, data miners playing early copies of the game discovered text strings referring to Stadium Stampede mode. That allows up to 30 players online to complete in a battle royale match in an open arena environment featuring weapon loadouts, item chests, vehicles, and a leveling system thought to be used for a battle pass mode. So that's pretty funny. Stadium Stampede match is a sort of classic wrestling thing. I love the idea of there being vehicles. What's the most classic wrestling game vehicle? To me, it might be Forklift. I remember that. Yeah, in old games.
What do they use to clean hockey rinks?
Zamboni.
Oh, like a Zamboni.
Zambonis.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the every SmackDown game, you can always go behind the scenes or backstage, and so I think forklifts and Zambonis would be in there, or even just those little steel golf carts that you would always see in WWE.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're
driving
right.
around. Yeah,
little golf cart might be. Yeah, you're right. I feel like
yeah.
Limousine as well. You know.
Yes.
Limos get people get knocked down by limousines, run over. They get there's fights on limousines a lot.
I don't know if it was ever playable, but there was the famous Kurt Angle once
milk
came out
truck.
with the milk truck, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, you're right. What else was there? Did someone like Dude Love or the guy who was a pimp? What was his name again?
Godfather.
Godfather. Did he have like a lowrider or something? Oh no, I think it might have been
Eddie Guerrero. They came out with
Chavo, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. They came out with like the hydraulics and everything. But I just remembered in SmackDown, you could ride Undertaker's motorcycle.
Oh yes, of course. No, you're right.
That was
when he
that
had
was
the
an
American
accessory.
Badass or whatever it
Yeah.
was phase. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was a special where you could. This was, I think, Here Comes the Pain or Know Your Role. You could grab a wrestler and drag him around while riding the motorcycle. So I think I think this is the same team making this game. So I'm eager to see. I think with Stadium Stampede, I can't recall, but I feel like this was an actual match they did in AEW in a pay-per-view, and I think someone was riding a horse. I don't know if I can't remember that's real or not, but I think they're going to add the horse to this game. That's what I'm hoping for.
So the I guess to clarify a little bit, and apologies if you're a big fan of this series and you knew all of this, or maybe we're getting some of it wrong. So Visual Concepts were the other crowd who were working on it. I think they were supporting Ukes on the old games. And they are the ones who are working on this. I'm not sure which Visual Concepts because they have a couple of different. They're wholly owned by 2K, so they're the ones working on the new ones like WWE 2K 23. It looks like they are lead dev on that. Visual Concepts. Guess where their headquarters is? It's about 5 minutes from here. They're in Nevada. They're in the hangar building down with. That's where all 2K stuff is, down in the Hamilton hangars. It's where Hangar 13 used to be. Do you remember Hangar 13?
Yeah. What did they make? I know the name.
Mafia 3, right?
Oh, okay.
And a bunch of those ones. Yeah, that's where they were / are. Are they still around? I know they had a bunch of layoffs. Are they still a thing, or are they closed?
Let's see.
I could be correct, but they're called Hangar 13 because they're in Hangar number 13 down in Hamilton. Then there, yeah, it's still around. It says.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's where Hayden Blackman was working on that Mafia 3, Mafia Definitive Edition. Apparently, they're working on an untitled Mafia game, according to Wikipedia. So they are very much alive, it seems like. But they're all down. 2K's all down there. Toys for Bob's, I think, was down there too. But they're now wholly owned by Activision, as far as I know. They're not. I've seen videos of their office. They had like everyone like did up their cubicles weird. So like one of them is like a pirate ship. Like it looks like, because they just made like awesome, like mostly kid focused games. Like it was Skylanders them, I think. Yeah. So there was a weird amount of game dev that happens here in Nevada. And I guess some of the WWE games are, but not AEW Fight Forever, which is available on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Microsoft Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X, Series S. June 29th, pick it up. Do you know how much it costs? We got codes, so I do not know. I'm guessing it's a $60 game.
Yeah, it looks like a $60 game. It's currently on sale on Steam. Let me see.
13% off on Steam right now, yeah. There you go. Or you can get the Elite Edition. Which may have been the codes we got, actually. I don't know. Which may have had extra things. Who knows?
And then, yeah, it is 60 base, which is good, because I feel like $70 for this would be kind of off. I feel like $50 is the perfect price point for this. Maybe even 40. But I like it.
This isn't an auction, Frank. You can't just keep going lower.
Auctions, yeah. Auctions where the price goes lower every time.
No, what's the... This isn't haggling. Sorry, the opposite of an auction. Also, you've made the... Frank, have you played the PS2 Berserk game?
I'm trying to. I don't think so. I played the Dreamcast one, but not. Let me
apparently, Berks. Ukes made that. I'm trying to read Berserk and Ukes at the same time, and it came out as Berks. Berserk Millennium Empire Arc Chapter of the Holy Demon War.
Jesus Christ. What's it called?
Berserk Millennium Empire Arc : Chapter of the Holy Demon War.
Oh my god.
They have
in
to
Japanese, it's called Berserk Millennium Falcon Hensime Senki no Sho.
I saw that. I wonder if Millennium Falcon is what they call Griffith in the Japanese version, and American audiences were like, "Oh, like Star Wars," and they're like, "Fuck, dude."
They're like, "Damn it,
we have to change.
Damn
this.
it." God, it's got a very intense box art.
Yes, it does. All of the Berserk games, the Dreamcast Berserk game has in Berserk, like the interstitial pages for the volumes have like one canvas painting that Kentaro Miura did, whereas the rest of them look very comic booky, and they have like the texture of the canvas, like you can see that they're painted. And the Dreamcast game has one of the canvas pictures as the cover, so it looks like it has like the canvas texture on the Dreamcast box. It's that's
beautiful,
very aesthetically pleasing. I was looking at it last night.
Is there a character in Berserk called Guts?
Yes, that's the protagonist. Yeah. Gatsu.
Okay, got you. Gatsu. Sword of the Berserk. Guts' Rage is the prequel to that, which was released in Japan as Berserk Millennium Falcon Arc Chapter of the Flowers of Oblivion.
Of course.
Which may be my favorite title for a video game ever. That is outstanding. Oh my god. One more time for the folks in the back. Berserk Millennium Falcon Arc, Chapter of the Flowers of Oblivion.
Rolls off the tongue.
Terrific. Absolutely terrific. Yeah, there you go. What great things video games are. Video games are just wonderful.
Frank, are there any good Berserk video games? You know Berserk better than I do.
I really like Musou games, the Dynasty Warriors series. Okay. So there is a Berserk Musou War. I don't know what you would call it. Berserk Warriors. I played maybe half of it, but it's solid.
It's Berserk and the Band of the Hawk.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Those games, I call those podcast games where it's like it's perfect to just hack and slash grind. I really like them. I've been playing the One Piece one for like 6 months now, so it is on Steam. I don't know if it works on Steam Deck. Apparently, it's been a while since I checked compatibility, but apparently a lot of those Musou games, there's some compatibility issue on the Steam Deck. I would love to be proven wrong on that. I should try it, but it's pretty solid. You can play as all the different characters. You can play as even, I think, Zod, the giant like horse demon dude. Cool. I think Casca. You can play, yeah. So all of those Musou games are filled with fan service. So it takes you through the story. There's cutscenes, and you're constantly leveling up. There's accessories you equip, but really solid hack and slash action. So, and the Berserk one is interesting because that's I think to this day, still the only Musou game that has blood.
Oh wow!
Maybe the Fist of the North Star one has it too, because all of the Dynasty Warriors games and One Piece, they all just adapt. Like they did Zelda Warriors, they always adapt like pretty friendly things. So there's never blood, gore. Even when you kill people, it says knocked out, KO. Lu Bu has KO'd 2,000 soldiers on the battlefield. Whereas I think in Berserk, it's like, okay, you killed 2,000 people. You slayed 2,000 people.
That'd be weird if Guts was just like knocking people down. Considering it's a manga where every other page he takes his giant slab of steel and just turns someone into a giant cloud of blood. It'd be really, really weird if he was just like, hey man, listen, you don't get up. Just go home to your wife and it's cool.
It feels like we've also passed the time in our culture where getting knocked out was like this harmless act. Like now brain trauma.
Your brain rattles around in your skull. It's not that harmless.
Concussions. Yeah, apparently this one only came out in like 2017, it says. Famitsu gave it 35 out of 40. GameSpot gave it 5 out of 10. And IGN gave it 6.3 out of 10. Oh, you can always count on IGN to give just GameSpot 1.5 above GameSpot. I don't want to add to the lol IGN score stuff, but we used to always laugh at GameSpot whenever that would happen. It would always, anytime. I've never seen IGN. We'd always do a review and be like, IGN, ooh, we gave it an 8. It's probably a 9 on IGN, yeah. And then a 9 pops up. We're like, hey! They're just more optimistic people, I think.
They just love games.
They just love games. GameSpot loves games
1.2%
less than IGN. And Famitsu love games, especially if they're from Japan.
Especially if they're big Japanese intellectual properties with cultural import.
True. That's why it sold 32,000 copies in Japan. Ugh.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a PS4. Oh, sorry, that was a PS4 version only. And the Windows version in North America, presumably because Steam Spy was still around, we could get this data, sold 24,000 copies, or almost 25,000. There you go. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. Not quite as good as Berserk Millennium Empire Chapter of the Holy Demon War. Or the other one, which I forget the name of now. Millennium Falcon, fucking
Han and Greedo
Flowers of
go to Tatooine.
Oblivion, or whatever it was. Yeah, exactly. Berserk Millennium Falcon Arc Chapters of the Flower of Oblivion. Great. That's
Oblivion? You said did someone say Oblivion?
Bethesda game. Yeah, exactly, right? Stop right there, criminal scum.
You violated the law.
I have mostly been played a lot more of Dave the Diver, having a good time, although there was a Metal Gear Solid stealth section in it, which took me an embarrassingly long time to complete. It frustrated the fuck out of me, but then I eventually got past it. So apparently it got patched. That's how annoying it was to people. So thank God for that. But there was the orange crate in the level, which you hide behind, which I thought was quite good. I have been playing Disco Elysium, which is currently 75% off on Steam. So if you like that video game or you've wanted to play it, like I did for a long time, it's coming up on 4 years old now. That's crazy. October 2019. Although Final Cut, I'm guessing, was a bit, or maybe that was when Final Cut came out. I'm actually not sure.
I think that was when Final Cut came out.
Wow, so it's a little bit older than that? That's crazy.
I think so. I'll check.
Yeah, look it up there. So I've been playing Disco Elysium Final Cut, which is the one that has like voice acting and a bit more quality of life stuff. I think the fast travel was patched in that as well, maybe, or maybe that came in a patch after the game got its original release. Like I said a couple of weeks back, I played it originally very little. Just didn't. I'm not way into that subgenre necessarily, but it's been on my list of things I need to get to. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go give it its due diligence, jump on in. And now I'm on like day 5 or 6 or something, and just completely enthralled.
Oh,
like this
awesome!
thing is absolutely, it's fantastic. Having so much fun. The characters are amazing. The once I got a bit of momentum, I think on day 2 I was a little bit stuck in the mud. I was having trouble with my leads, and then eventually I got a bunch of stuff done. And yeah, it's a game that I'm really excited to complete, and I'm very excited to go back and play again, because I can tell, like, you can get a real sense of you don't have enough time in the day to do everything. So like, there's so many side quests and so many loose ends that I've not followed up on. I want to roll my character a little bit differently next time as well. I'm doing a lot of not much physical, very just mostly like logic and being able to convince people and stuff like that. My empathy is through the roof, which has helped quite a lot. That was quite fun. And yeah, I think once I got a grok on the systems in it and kind of how big the world was and all that sort of stuff, now I'm like, oh, okay, this is the game I'm playing. And it's, I don't know, there's something easier. Once you kind of know where the limits are a bit, it's a little easier to settle into stuff and, I don't know, zoom your focus in on certain parts, because, it's like, this is how big the game is. Okay, I can spend some time here and do this and do that. It's been a little while since you played it, has it, Jeremy?
Yeah.
No, it's like one of your favorite games.
Yeah, also 2019 was the original release date. The Final Cut was
cool.
2021, it looks like.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't played it since probably 2020. Or 2021. I can't even remember now. It was at least a couple years ago now. But Disco Elysium is one of my favorite games. I'm curious if one of the things that sticks with me is those little moments where you feel like it's like a 1 in 100 shot that you got it, like just a bunch of things align, and it like that's one of my favorite things is they just wrote so much for that game and made so many little scenes and permutations of each scene and the way it plays out. I feel like it feels very special and like rarefied when you get a weird little moment or have like a little intimate like aside with Kim, and you're like, oh my god, like what was going on under the hood that made that happen, where we had that like a little heart to heart or whatever. I'm curious if you've had any like standout moment without spoiling any big story things, if there's any little moments.
Yeah, the rolls have been fun, because the rolls are like, because a lot of the like you have like a 13% chance of like nailing this particular conversational thing, right? Like you're trying to say something and they're like, you don't really have the stats for this, but you'll see, and the game rolls some invisible dice in the background and you either get it or you don't. I won a 3% roll. It was on something that was like very, I didn't care if I burned it. It was like, oh, we'll just give it a go. It's fine. And it came up green, and I was like, oh my god, like that's so I'd love to know, like, how that's handled. You know what I mean? Is there some type of thing where sometimes it'll nudge you the right way, or because we talk to devs a lot about those types of things. You'll hear, what was it? There was one game we talked about where they like had it where like if you didn't have quite enough gold for something, they just it was Rogue Legacy 2.
Oh yeah.
If you're like 5 gold short of something, they at the end of a level for your next upgrade, they just give it to you and don't tell you. They're just like, just give it to them so they can upgrade on the next one. So I'd love to know if it does some of that. One of my favorite encounters I've had in it was and it's so funny how everything changes if Kim is with you or not, because he was with me for this part. I went on a date with somebody with him around, which was quite
you brought Kim on the date?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He just hung back and we just sort of
God.
like chatted, and so we went on this walk. Yeah. He just like was back there and it was like, it'll be less weird, right? She's like, I don't know. But there was one phone booth where I just call. There's a whole thing where you can just call a random number sometimes, and you can roll to see if you do it. And I called. I'm not sure how rare this is. It probably isn't. I called this guy, and he was like, he answered the phone, and then I was like, one of the options was I want to talk to your wife. Did you do this?
I don't remember this at all.
And I just said I want to talk to your wife, and he's like, what do you mean I want to talk to your wife? And I'm like, the next one, for some reason I just decided to be a total prick, because it was like, it meant nothing to the game, but I did feel a little bit bad because Kim was watching. And then I was like, hey, just let me talk to your wife. Like, I'm friends with her and we want to, and then he's blah, blah. And then he starts arguing with her. And then it's like, oh, this is bad, actually. They're shouting like maybe this guy's like a abusive husband or something. I don't really know. And Kim is like, what are you doing? Can we stop this phone call? And the last thing I said, and I felt so bad saying it, but I had to because it was making me laugh so much, was like basically, yeah, I'm the guy who's been fucking your wife for like months. Put her on, would you? It was like such a mean thing. And then hung up or whatever. And Kim was just like what? And he'll remember that probably situation. I couldn't help myself. I was like, this won't come back to bite me probably, so I'm okay doing this.
That's unbelievable. There are so few games that like even if the level of simulation is just popping up different text responses to those types of actions. I feel like in Disco Elysium, the types of verbs that game allows you to do, like ruin a marriage over the phone of strangers you've never met. I don't know, man. It like instills these little bits of emergent narrative that just really stick with you, because you're like, when do you ever do this in a video game? When do you ever like go down to the shoreline and crush a beer and smoke a cig and like stare longingly out over the water? I don't know. Yeah. It's just like the things it lets you do feel very film noir-y in a way that like most games don't let you simulate.
Yeah, totally. I think the all of the stuff that you're doing is just like having basically like conversations about theology and philosophy and politics and all these types of things, but like the actual moment to moment stuff is like very groundedly human, like the lady outside the bookshop whose husband went missing, and how you get to that, or even the lady in the bookshop and how she treats her daughter. Like that's such a interesting, and of course Kuno, we all love and hate Kuno at the same time. I did the graffiti on the wall in the back of the town, where you can choose what to write, and I'm guessing everyone writes down I love Kuno, because that was what I wrote down. I love Kuno, just in big red letters on the wall.
I've never done it, but you can punch Kuno at some point. I have not done it, but
I think I had that choice and I didn't do it.
Yeah, I also think it is influenced by physical stat, probably, if I had to guess.
Okay.
But yeah, Kuno, and he like, I think it's when he calls you a pedophile or says that like this guy touched me or something.
Yeah,
you have the
right
option to just
start.
like sock him right in the face, which is very, very.
A
lot of games don't include children because violence towards children is obviously abhorrent, and the ESRB also probably frowns upon it. But
you could shoot kids in Deus Ex.
Cool. What else is there to say?
I gotta play it.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected you to say there. Oh my god. Hey, if you're out there and you know other games where you can murder children,
we're working on a YouTube video, and we need like 3 more to round out the killing kids video.
Oh my god. Frank, do you know any games where you could kill kids?
Wow.
Can I get us knocked off YouTube?
Off the top of my head.
I'm Googling it.
No, because not even in South Park. You don't fight other kids in South Park. You fight turkeys and like robots. Yeah, games that you. I don't know.
I'm getting it put on a list. I just typed into Google games where you can kill
I can hear the
children.
sirens in the background.
Yeah. Oh great! There's a there's a thread on an old Fallout forum about this. So I'm guessing Fallout.
There's probably a
That's
mod
what-
for it.
Yeah. The Witcher.
Okay.
It says, oh no, that's creatures who were human once. That's not at all what I was asking for. Google games where you can kill kids. Okay, here we go.
Silent Hill has those weird babies with knives.
yeah.
in the
That's
opening.
true. They used to be children, presumably. Yeah, Fallout 1 and 2 is what people are saying.
Oh yeah.
Phantom Menace on the PS1, you can kill children. Are you serious? Is that Order
Yeah,
76?
listen, the younglings.
The younglings. You're not really supposed to kill them, but in the Mos Espa level, you can wander into slave quarters and kill all the kids. Actually, they said kill all the little kids. Somehow that slipped past the new ratings board. There you go. Nobody saw it. It's not like they play all the game. If you want to check that, know more about the ESRB, check out our documentary on the ESRB. Oh my god. Anyway, there's no children to kill in Disco Elysium, but I'm sure killing a lot of time, enjoying that world. God, the art is just beautiful as well. It's a real good time. Yeah. People have been asking for a documentary on that for a while. I remember GameSpot did a great a video on their show Audio Logs years ago with Robert Kurbitz. This would be a fun one for sure. Somewhat complex, but with
I've
all
watched-
the political.
I've watched that interview probably 10 times because Robert Kurvitz talks in it about taking the systems in Disco Elysium, the sort of like dice rolls giving rise to narrative choices, giving rise to sort of just like a choose your own adventure, but complexifying it with dice rolls and stats and how that kind of makes a narrative RPG. And one of the things he talks about in it that he would like to do in a future game is having an intimacy scene, like a sex scene or like a romantic sex scene with like all of the dice rolls and stats and stuff. And I think that's so brilliant that I couldn't believe he just said it like that because it's Alex Austin has said to us before when we've pitched him game ideas that like you could tell someone a game idea and it doesn't matter if it's the best idea ever. It matters if you can make it and make it fun. So it's not like he was like giving the idea away, but when he said it with such like casual, just like, oh yeah, and I'd love to do like a sex scene with that stuff, like a romantic sex scene with. I was like, it just struck me as like, when
David Cage is listening somewhere
where he's taking copious notes
because he has done. I don't know. Every one of his games has a sex scene that is a rhythm game. I'm pretty sure, like
God.
like a quick time event game.
Yeah, but he just got that from God of War.
Oh God, I forgot that. You're right. I think Omicron didn't have a. I think that was just a cutscene in Omicron, but in Fahrenheit, that's straight up. I think there's 2. I might be wrong, or maybe you get interrupted by all the ghostly things flying around the room the second time. It's weird.
I don't think I've ever played a David Cage game. I played a little bit of Fahrenheit
Heavy Rain
way back in the day. I've never played Heavy Rain. I've never played any of his games. He's kind of a polarizing figure, so someday I'll take the plunge.
Those games are a bit. Yeah, I mean, all the stories about that studio that came out a couple of years ago did not sound awesome. Sounded like maybe a lot of racism in there. I can't remember exactly, but that sure was the vibe that the stories editor were telling. I don't know. It's a weird. I like playing his games for the same reason. This is gonna say I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. I like playing his games for the same reason I like playing Hideo Kojima games, because they're just weird, and because this person decided to make this thing, and for some reason dozens of really talented people heard what that person said and went, okay, we'll make that, and then the game comes out. And I'm not lessening Hideo Kojima's skill or mastery, but I do often feel like it does take a village to make a lot of those games, and sometimes those guys are pretty lucky that they have a lot of talented people around them to make those games, because a cheap version of either of their visions would be not very good, I feel like. But hey, look, shit looks good. It's Norman Reedus. Look at these mechs. Everything looks cool. Look at all these humans. Elliot Page is in here. There's a lot of interesting, like, aesthetic stuff going on in those games that makes them a little bit more playable, I think. But anyway, Disco Elysium. Jeremy, you did not play many games this week, but you do have a lot to talk about. You were talking before we went live about Will Wright and chairs. What's this about?
So I have been watching. Also, as an aside, this is related. I feel like Mark Brown and I have some sort of psychic connection. Mark Brown from Game Maker's Toolkit.
Game Maker's Toolkit.
Because every time I become fascinated in something, I'll check what he's been up to for the last month or so, and he's immediately, like 5 minutes ago, posted a video about the thing I'm researching. So I was doing a bunch of research about the Sims AI, and then he just released a video about the Sims AI.
Amazing.
So, Mark, if you have cameras in my house, I want you to get them out of here, unless you start paying me, and then it's fine. So I was watching an old GDC talk of Will Wright. I think it was 2001, and in it's a very interesting talk, generally speaking. He talks about the Sims AI and kind of the way that they have this invisible landscape of needs, and essentially that the Sims will have like a sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for their needs, and then they rank them. And the interesting byline from it is that all of the objects in the world have like an invisible advertisement that they're transmitting to Sims. So instead of
funny.
So Sims aren't like, oh, I'm hungry, let me find like a hungry fix. They look around and everything is like, I could give you 20 hunger, I could give you 35 fun. Like, it's like a bunch of invisible billboards that are transmitting to them.
Wow.
Which is really fascinating. Just like, it's from the player's perspective, it's indistinguishable between the two because it's under the hood, but it's just kind of an interesting little trick of engineering that's what's happening with all of the needs.
It's interesting because I guess it means that maybe the Sims don't, I haven't watched Mark's video yet, but maybe it means that the Sims are kind of like we are as people, more likely to do something that is in their immediate like visual space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then, or maybe there are some things like hunger, for instance, is something you like, I'm hungry, I'll go to the kitchen and do a thing. But like, I feel like a lot of the time I'm making decisions based on what I'm seeing in the room.
Or decisions based on like, you may be very hungry, but also you're so incredibly bored. And even though hunger kind of outweighs boredom on the hierarchy of needs, you're like, I could watch like one episode of something before I make a sandwich. So the Sims will, in order to feel more authentically alive, will rank their needs and then pick one of the top 3 randomly so that they're not just always going with the top choice and feel like automatons.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's really interesting. So I've been just like, for some reason, just fascinated by Will Wright recently. I've been watching a bunch of his old talks, and in this talk, he talks about, do you guys know the Eames chair? The Eames couple, the famous designers from back in the day?
It's ringing a bell, but I can't.
So Ray and something Eames, I can't remember the names because I haven't read about them since college, but the Eameses were a couple of designers. They designed they did like art films and chairs, and
I do remember this chair. Yes,
yeah, it's like a $5,000 armchair.
Yes.
If you saw it, you would recognize it. If anyone's listening and doesn't know the Eameses, just Google Eames chair. It's a very famous chair.
I've seen one of these before.
So in the design world, Will Wright talks about how, in the design world outside of games, the designing things, physical objects, the chair is seen as like emblematic of what a designer is capable of because it's a deceptively simple thing. It's just like a static object that you sit in, but the sort of like form and function interplay of making something that can hold someone's weight but is aesthetically pleasing and interesting. It's not too simple. It's not too complex. It actually
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. It actually has a lot of factors going into it under the hood that are making it like a way more complex design problem than it seems. So the chair has become sort of emblematic of what designers can do. So Will Wright in this talk, while talking about the Eameses, goes through 4 of the most famous game devs of 2001, and he explains what their chair would be like if they designed a chair.
Oh, funny. Okay.
So this is another apologies to anyone who missed out on Bootleg Mario. This has a visual component, but I will explain everything. The visual component is kind of optional, but for you guys, I will send.
Will we once again post the pictures of this on Reddit, maybe?
Yes.
Just in case people need it. Okay.
Very good call. Yeah. So I'll post these in the Noclip staff Discord, the staff lounge.
Paint a visual.
Yes.
Frank is so excited he dropped his microphone. And then, paint us a visual picture, Jeremy James.
So the first one is Shigeru Miyamoto. So I can paraphrase what Will Wright explains each of these as.
Should we guess? How do we make this a fun interactive segment? Should we guess maybe what his chair would be, and then you can explain it to us?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Do you want the image? I've posted the image. Do not look at the image if you don't want.
I will not look at the images. Okay. Frank, can I go first on this one? You can go on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Miyamoto's chair would be incredibly simple. It'd be made of wood. It would be like a child's chair, a simple chair, a chair like a grown-up version of a chair you had at school. It would be colorful. It'd be green maybe or red. It would be anyone could sit on it. It'd be easy to pick up and sit on, pick up and play. It would be comfortable, and that's all I have.
That is, you basically nailed it.
Oh.
Yeah, you kind of hit it out of the park. So the Miyamoto chair would be perfect in form and function, but only he could make it. So it's sort of it's balanced. It's like it's sort of effortlessly complex and yet simple. So the chair that he posted is like, I don't know how to describe this. Kind of like 1/3 of an egg chair carved out into the shape of a red chair. Sort of a luxurious but very stylish chair that you might see in like a San Francisco tech startup lounge or something.
Yeah. This looks like the chair. It looks a little bit like a soft version of the Men in Black chair, where they had to like do the whatever it is, the intake form that he had to do. In my head, it was more like a simple wooden chair. So. Thank you, but I think I fucked up.
No, actually, I think you kind of nailed it better than Will Wright. Sorry, Will Wright, you got owned.
Oh, okay. My chair was better.
All right, the next one is John Carmack.
Okay, Frank, you want to do this one?
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like it'd have to be some like chair with computers in it. Something very high tech. Let's see. I feel like it'd also have like wireframes. I feel like I've seen chairs at IKEA that's like all those like. It's made of like a bunch of different individual wires, so you can still like. I'm so bad describing this kind of stuff, but is that mesh? Is that the term?
Yeah.
Go for it. He does strike me as a function over form type guy.
Yeah.
He is very like Romero is the art and Carmack is the math. So
yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah, I'm very interested in what Will Wright has to say.
So the Carmack chair is, I'll send the picture in 1 second, but the very technical and almost impossible to build. But that's okay because he gives away the blueprints to anyone who wants them if they want to try to rebuild them. So this is the John Carmack chair. It is a
wow.
God, it's awful.
I know it looks very uncomfortable. It's sort of a bunch of black wood boards with a slab of black wood to put your ass on. And
it looks like an Adirondack chair, you know, or it has like the butt going in thing of like the sharp low 30-degree angle of the butt part.
It looks like one of those chairs that you sit on when you're having a beer on your friend's porch, and you never lay back in it. You're always sitting on the edge of the chair, and you're never comfortable.
Yeah, that's true.
So technically brilliant, but not much comfort.
Stick to coding, John.
So this is probably my favorite. Is Sid Meier.
Okay. That's God. How do we describe Sid Meier? I mean, his games are broad in there. They're broad and sort of. They're not like stories at all. They're more. God, it's hard to describe like a Civ game, isn't it? Or even XCOM, any of that. I guess that's XCOM's on him.
My guess would be like a lifeguard chair, like very high up, looking over.
That's really good. I love
looking
that.
down on everyone. Yeah, that's pretty
very
cool.
good.
Airplane chair. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one's kind of like deceptively simple. So the Sid Meier chair is not much to look at, but it is so unbelievably comfortable that it's very difficult to get up from.
That's good.
Sort of the one more turn approach of Civilization. So it's like a big leather armchair, kind of like overstuffed leather chair.
It's like the Matrix chair.
Yeah, it's Morpheus's chair.
Morpheus's chair, yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that is true. His game, and I'm not surprised that Will Wright would say that too, because I feel like the two of them are sort of intertwined souls when it comes to the games that they make.
Yeah, for sure.
Simulations like that.
Yeah, both very like sandboxy, kind of emblematic of the like late 90s, early 2000s kind of obsession with like interactive simulation. So the last one, other than Will Wright describing himself as a chair, is Peter Molyneux.
Oh my God. Okay, Peter Molyneux is a picture of a chair in a pamphlet that you order and it never turned up.
That's way better.
A different chair turned up that was still good, but just you kind of wanted the one that was in the magazine a bit more.
Yeah, it's missing some features, maybe.
What do you think, Frank?
No, that's I couldn't.
What games had Peter Molyneux released by 2001? Because I'm wondering. Okay, so like
Black and White would have been out. I
Dungeon
think,
Keeper,
the
Black and White
first
came
one.
out that year. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So this is pre-Fable and everything. Okay, cool. I was just trying to get a sense because Peter Molyneux has had so many more years to delight and disappoint us by now. So this is the Peter Molyneux chair was described by Will Wright as very unorthodox and trying to have a twisted psychiatric relationship with you.
Okay.
And this is the picture. It is a I don't know. Is that a massage chair? I don't
It
even.
looks like a psychiatrist, like an old school psychiatrist chair or something, or like an operating chair, or like a physical therapy chair for if you're getting your
Yeah.
knees done or something. I don't know.
It looks like a chair no human being could comfortably sit in, and it has a word bubble that says "Tell me about your childhood."
So it must be like a therapist's
Yeah.
chair or something.
It's
Yeah.
got to be. But I love that one. I actually, I think yours is better. The chair that never arrives, or arrives.
And
missing features.
we love Peter Molyneux for that reason. He's a dreamer, man. But
Peter Molyneux is one of my favorite people. I literally like teared up towards the end of the Peter Molyneux interview that you did. He's just like
the black and white one.
yeah. He just has like this sense of I don't know, just like excited. After that many years making games, he still just talks about it like I talked to my friends in middle school when we'd be
Right.
like, "Oh, what if there was a game and you could like do this?" I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
something to be said for that. Like, you know, I would rather have someone dream big and fall short than kind of just like do something that's very orthodox and just predictable.
That's what Todd Howard says a lot when we interviewed him too. That like they rather go for the swing and swing for the fences and not miss. Like, what's the point in doing any of this shit otherwise? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter, it's funny. Peter Molyneux, one of those guys. Anyone I've ever talked to or worked with him, no one's ever had a bad thing to say about him. As a person, like as a guy, it seems like. I'll say that now. Now I'll get some emails and people are like, "Oh, you fucking didn't hear," but you're like, "Oh shit."
Heard
damn
your
it."
chair segment, dude.
Yeah.
So the last one is Will Wright describing himself as a chair, if anyone wants to take a hazard a guess here. And this was 2001, so I think The Sims had just come out recently.
SimCity. I'm also just looking at the pictures of the chairs we got here and trying to think about what other chairs there are out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to type chairs into Google. Frank, do you have any idea?
I don't.
I feel like this is like your nightmare assignment is explaining people as chairs. Like,
Yeah.
this sounds like I've never heard you struggle to come up with things as much in my life.
I don't.
This is just
I
like,
don't. Yeah, I don't know. Other chairs that sound cool are beanbags, electric chairs,
there you go.
Oh, beanbag would have been really good for Will Wright.
Electric chairs.
gamer chairs.
I love how you say electric chairs like it's like a genre of chair we could
Yeah,
all
it's
go
like,
out
I think
and
of
buy.
Saw. I think of like Saw, like a dentist chair. Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit. Beanbags and electric chairs. Those are both amazing. You were just loading the chamber that whole time. You just
Yeah.
came out with the two best possible answers. Fuck. Is it a beanbag?
No, that's such a good guess, though.
Such a better answer.
I actually think you guys have done a better job at the assignment than Will Wright did.
Thanks.
The Will Wright, self-described Will Wright chair is that it is modular and toy-like. When you look at it, you would not recognize it as a chair, and it is packed with interesting failure states. So I'm sending the
Oh my
picture right
God.
now. It is sort of like a wood block and then half of a wood block. Kind of in the shape of a chair, but if you leaned backwards, you would immediately destroy your neck.
Yeah.
Kind of like an IKEA storage block. Is how
It
I would
does.
describe
The block looks like it looks like one of those Clask or whatever it's called. The,
Yeah.
The IKEA ones that the modular ones you can kind of stick together. That looks like a nightmare. Why don't we all come up with a designer and a chair
Okay.
that we can all kind of, we can. Okay, Hideo Kojima. I'm gonna go for Hideo Kojima.
Oh wow.
Hideo Kojima's chair, it looks like a chair, but when you sit on it, it actually just like falls on the ground and turns into a weird like spider looking thing. and then a bunch of dialogue comes out of the spider that's very confusing, but you're just fascinated by what's happened and you can't look away.
It's a good chair. I would do Shigesato Itoi of Earthbound and Mother series fame, and the Itoi chair would be like one of those plastic chairs with the legs bow outward, like in an elementary school.
Yeah.
But incredibly comfortable. And when you sat on it, it would make a fart noise, but it would also hug you.
That's pretty good. Frank, what you got?
I don't know. I was trying to think, what would Gabe Newell's chair be?
Oh man,
That's such a good one.
It would be, I don't know, an ATM machine. I don't know what.
A big tank.
Yeah, it would. Every time he sold it, he'd get 30% of the money.
I feel like it would be the chair from Grandma's Boy that the designer is sitting in his room where he designs, and he's in like the big black chair that like leans backwards with the screens above him.
It would only have 2 legs.
Ah,
Never get the third leg. What about Miyazaki's chair?
Oh,
it would have
Like
no
a chair
legs.
that, like, no legs.
that'd be the electric chair, or it'd be like the.
It seems
it'd
to.
be
Sorry, go on.
bed of nails, like.
A bed of nails that feels really uncomfortable when you sit on it first, but actually, once you like hang out there for a while, like nobody wants to sit on it. They look at it and go, I don't know, it's not for me. But then enough people are sitting in this chair that people are like, oh, maybe this chair's not bad. And
There's
you're
gotta be
"Come sit
something
on
to
it. It's actually really good. Actually, like it hurts a bit when you sit down, but my back's never felt better. You know, it's been
That's
years.
amazing.
I had this crick in my back for years, and I just feel great.
And it
now.
never feels
Amazing.
unfair, you know? Like when you sit on it wrong, you know that you're sitting on it wrong.
I'm sitting on it. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to readjust myself.
Yeah,
the chair
it's
is
not
perfect.
the chair is immaculate. It's me that's wrong.
It's me that's wrong.
It's my
Exactly.
spine.
The other throwaway idea was that the Housers of Rockstar would just be a movie theater chair.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
That's
yeah,
very good.
Yeah, David Cage too, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Send in your chair ideas to podcast at noclip.video. That's a podcast, folks. The tape stuff is kind of the focus for me at the moment this week. Vampire Survivors and Immortality are almost... Immortality, I rendered the final version. I'm uploading it to YouTube currently, so probably on Monday that will go up. It's up for early access people already. Vampire Survivors will come pretty soon after that. We've got a bunch of other things in the works as well. Stuff we can talk about, stuff we can't talk about. And then, other bits and bobs coming down the pipeline. We'll have new videos on how Stunt Derby's going. The merch stuff will be launching in a couple of weeks too, the new store. And if you are going to PAX West, we will be there on our panel on Saturday afternoon. I'll have further details on that in the not too distant, but just to get it on your radar if you're going to PAX, we will be there, a bunch of us, and we will maybe have some guests and maybe show some tape stuff. I don't know. We'll make it cool, whatever it is. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. To support this podcast, fund our documentaries, the videotape project, and get access to loads more bonus episodes, the official Discord, and more, head over to patreon.com/noclip. Jeremy, what are you doing for the rest of your day?
Let's see. I'm going to finish up this Heroes of Might and Magic 3 video, which I'm very excited about. I'm very curious how people... I think it's going to go one of two ways. Either people have never heard of this game and I wildly overestimate its popularity, which is probably what's going to happen, or... The Heroes of Might and Magic 3 fans will pour out of the woodwork and like stand up like in Spartacus and be like, I've just been waiting for somebody to say that this is one of the best games of all time. I was too scared that I was the only one.
Excellent. I like it. Well, I asked you to do it, so don't worry, it's on me. It was a very selfish act because I just have been fascinated by this game and you talking about it, and I just want to learn about it. So yes, we should record that today or tomorrow, I guess, whenever. With the Let's Play part of it?
Yeah, I feel like I would love to do tomorrow because I feel like on the Earthbound one, my voice was exhausted from the podcast. And so I was like, hey, yeah, we're going to play my favorite game of all time.
Hey guys, what's going on?
I really like this game. And people are like, is he sick? Like, he hates this game or something is wrong.
Love it. And Frank, what are you up to for the rest of your day, rest of your week?
I have two physical therapy appointments this week. One later today, one tomorrow. But I'm at the point now where I feel like I can do 95% of everything. The last thing I'm struggling with is being able to play guitar because I've lost all flexibility in my hands. Like, it's coming back, but other than that, I'm finally able to declutter my home because I was gonna do a big decluttering project, but then I couldn't lift boxes.
Of course.
But now all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, so I gotta I also bought a ton of art at Anime Expo, so I gotta order frames and a bunch of things. So last week was very busy and chaotic, so this week is like, okay, I'm gonna take it easy. So I also just settle the waves in my head and take it easy. So
yeah. Amen. Yeah. Good shout. I don't know what I'm up to for the next. I guess a lot of tape stuff, a lot of planning stuff. On the Patreon side and on our the tapes thing is kind of what I'm looking over at now and getting Vampire Survivors done and dusted. We have a backlog of stuff that basically kind of just needs to get finalized and pushed out. Like, I need to get back on Dwarf Fortress as quickly as possible, so I can make something good there. That's one of those docs I really want to make sure the community around that game enjoys it. You know what I mean? So there'll be a bunch of work to do on that one. So I'm looking forward to that. And then this weekend, date night with my wife. We're gonna hang out, and I think we're gonna go see a movie and grab some beers afterwards, relax. Sun is good. It was kind of like too hot over the weekend, and it's like chilled out a little bit, which is good. Enjoy some of that summer, because I've been indoors editing fucking for most of it, so I'm trying to get out a bit this month, which should be good. Thank you everyone for listening, as ever. We really appreciate it. Head over to Patreon if you're interested in helping us out on some of that stuff, but otherwise we shall see you next week. Peace.